We actually started in 2007. So the fundamental thesis of the company is that the biggest problem facing the global data center and computing industry, the biggest problems all relate to power. And we looked around the globe, we spun the globe and continue to do so, and have done many times to look for other places that could solve this power crisis. And we have yet to find any place that solves it as well as Iceland does. Iceland really uniquely solves the global computing industry's power problems in a way that nobody else does. And that was apparent even in 2007. So we actually got started before the crisis. Then the crisis hit, and of course those weren't necessarily pleasant times, but we buckled down and we were tight on our costs, but our investors stood by us, and even during the worst of the krepa or the crash, we could still very clearly see that the value proposition that we had to offer the industry was there, and it was just getting stronger every year. And today it's incredibly powerful. What had happened was really Iceland had because of the crash, there was a ton of perceived risk in doing business in Iceland. But when you actually peeled away the layers of the onion a little bit, you realized it really was perceived risk. Because if you had been a customer of ours during the crash, there would have been no interruption to your service. We would have delivered you power, telecommunications, our employees would have showed up to work. So we were fighting this perceived risk. And what's happened over the last couple of years is that cloud of risk has really settled down. As Iceland has recovered quite spectacularly from a macroeconomic perspective, especially compared to the rest of Europe, people have said, oh, hey, Iceland's actually quite stable. It's actually a good place to do business. That never really changed, but again, because of the perceived risk, people were holding back. But today, people are much, much more comfortable with Iceland. And so, frankly, we just stayed the course. We were prudent with our use of capital. Our investors had shared our long-term vision and our patience, and it's paying off today. We've attracted a number of great customers, such as BMW, a company called Risk Management Solutions, DataPipe, Colt, City of London Telecom. A number of great companies have now put their servers in our data center. Iceland is actually quite an easy place to do business because it's easy to find the people you need to speak to. There's much less bureaucracy and red tape than you encounter in a lot of places. It's a very entrepreneurial place to begin with. So I think the thing that I encountered when I first started doing business in Iceland was it was really easy compared to other places in the world that I've done business. I think, look, it's always been a view, when we started, it was a high risk investment because we were the first people to do it. A lot of that risk has gone away today because we've proven that it can be done. But, I think the biggest issue was no one had done it before, and we were going to be the icebreaker that's done it. But I think that first mover advantage has really paid off for us. In terms of other things that I encountered that I didn't expect, honestly, it is the ease and speed of doing business in Iceland. It is easy if you come with the right credentials, and it's easy to get in touch with the right people at the power company, to talk to the right people in the government, to talk to the right people in the telecommunications industry. Iceland's a very cosmopolitan and outward-looking place in general. When you consider that it's a small island in the middle of the North Atlantic, for a variety of reasons, it's not very provincial. It's really opening it's open to global commerce, and so it was easy as an American to show up and start doing business. Obviously, everybody there speaks fluent English. It's a very well-educated and savvy population, so there were no issues with that. Well, the plan is continued and accelerated growth and investment. We're every bit as pleased. We're more pleased today with our decision to go to Iceland than we ever have been, and we have found that more and more people are interested in our data center offering in Iceland. More and more people get it now, and again, the pressures globally on power pricing, particularly in Europe, where it's got nowhere to go but straight up, force people to make the kind of decisions like, hey, if I go to Iceland, I will save 50 to 70% on my data center costs if I go to Verne's data center. those kinds of decisions are actually becoming easier and easier. So we just simply plan to capitalize on that. We recently doubled our capacity. I think it won't be too long before we do the same again. And we're just continuing to invest in our marketing and our sales and bring customers to Iceland. It really does solve the data center industry's biggest problems in a unique way.